And now we are quickly moving on to our next panel, which is on to franchise or not to franchise. The question for every entrepreneurial salon owner. So बहुत important सवाल है जो आज यहाँ डिस्कस करेंगे हम कि फ्रेंचाइज करनी चाहिए या नहीं करनी चाहिए. और इस पैनल पे मैं सबसे पहले इनवाइट करूँगी Mr. Alan John, COO Naturals and Natural Salons and Natural Beauty Academy. Alan is an experienced beauty professional from over 2 decades of building the beauty business through modern technology, process, and retail systems. Thank you. After his stint as the CEO of Makeup Designery, that's Mud India, and Central Director with Oren International, he is currently holding the position of Chief Operating Officer with Natural Salons, Naturals Beauty Academy India, and International Business. He is also known for his PR and influential rapport within the industry. Can we have a round of applause for Alan, please? My next speaker is Mr. Bharath, Mr. MS Bharath. Yes, sir. Please join us on stage. He is the founder and managing partner of Kria Law. He's a sought-after IP litigator and strategist. After 20 years of practice and 12 years of leading a regional office of a national IPR firm, Bharath founded Kria Law in March 2021. He helps in mining intangible assets, that's IP, study risks, register, monetize, keep their misuse in check, and use IP as a tool to achieve business goals, be it for artists, inventors, corporations, small, medium, or big. So in short, he is our law guy, and he's going to help you with all your legal queries. My next speaker is Mr. Pralay Bakshi, COO Bina Punjani Salon and CXO Lux Salon. Hello, Pralay. Oh, sorry, you're not. Only with Bina Punjani's studio. Thank you for joining us, Pralay. He's coming to meet us from all the way from Goa. Pralay Bakshi, the CEO of Bina Punjani Hair Studio, which has 4 salons, an academy, and a bridal makeup vertical, and it has opened its first outlet outside of Goa in Nasik last month. While Bina handles the technical and quality aspects of the brand, Pralay, who is Bina's husband and partner, handles the business and operational aspects of the brand, including operations, strategy, growth, HR, marketing, branding, etc. We have already met Bina, and now Pralay is going to give us a lot more information about the business aspect. All right. I am going to join you, gentlemen, there. I'm so sorry. We have one more speaker, Mr. Samir Srivastav, CEO, Lux Salon. I'm so sorry, Samir. Please step on the stage. I was in a hurry to get the session started and completely forgot about you. Please join us on stage.
Hi.
All right. So we're talking about to franchise or not to franchise, and I will start with Samir. You, yes. So for a standalone salon, किस point पर आकर ये decide होता है कि franchise अपनी खुद की फ्रेंचाइज स्टार्ट करनी चाहिए या नहीं?
जब आपके पैसे खत्म हो जाते तब. No, on a more serious note, I think depends on each brand का appetite क्या है. मैंने अपने 20 साल के करियर में 4 अलग कंपनी में काम किया है. So पहली कंपनी was only company owned outlets. They had a lot of financial backing, so they didn't want to franchise. Plus nature of the business of Kaya was as such कि we didn't want to franchise because it's very controlled business, and chances of it doing something wrong has very strong impact on the brand. So we didn't want to do it. Had a deep pocket, so there was no need. Then I worked for a company in the education space called VLCC, which believed very strongly in franchising. So I realized that franchising is also the way to grow. Then my third assignment was with a French brand called JCB, जिसके लास्ट ईयर में मैंने 2 फ्रेंचाइजेज ओपन किए थे, भोपाल में और कोचिन में, वेस्ट और साउथ का मार्केट्स को टैप करने के लिए. And I think both were very successful decisions, and I believe that this is the way forward. And now I run a company called Lux, where 200 salons, none of them have been made by me. They've been made by Sanjay, and he has very successfully run a vertical called the Lux franchise. I think there are about 50 to 60 franchisees which are operating in North India under the name of Lux. So I personally feel, yes, of course we'll discuss it as we go along. Planned growth होनी चाहिए, लेकिन controlled franchise को control आपका करना चाहिए. If that's the game, then I'm ready. Yeah.
Pralay?
So as a brand that is very, very controlled, we have always been apprehensive about franchising. अभी भी हमने हमारा पहला out of Goa salon किया है नासिक में, which we have taken over as an operator. तो बाकी चीज़ें अलग, but जो काम चल रहा है उसको उस पे कंट्रोल हमारा होना ज़रूरी है. So we are exploring the concept of franchising, because franchising definitely is a very smart thing to do.
Yeah.
It gives you revenues without having to invest. और franchising कब करनी चाहिए? जब आपका brand customer को pull कर सकता है. अगर आप अपने ब्रांड का बोर्ड एक दूसरे शहर में लगाते हो, जैसे जेसीबी का अगर आपने बोर्ड लगाया तो ऑटोमेटिकली ब्रांड रिकग्निशन है, देयर इज सम ब्रांड प्रॉमिस, समथिंग दैट द क्लाइंट एसोसिएट्स विद द ब्रांड. इफ यू पुट अप अ लुक्स सैलून इन नॉर्थ इंडिया, लोग जानते हैं लुक्स को. सो आप बोर्ड देख के जब लोग अंदर आने को तैयार हैं, आई थिंक दैट्स द पॉइंट एट व्हिच यू शुड फ्रेंचाइज, टू आंसर योर स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन.
Yeah. But you both of you gentlemen spoke about having control. अगर control ही रखना है तो फिर franchise क्यों करना है? अपना company owned, company operated क्यों नहीं?
क्योंकि कंपनी ऑपरेटेड, दिस इज अ वेरी एक्सपेंसिव बिजनेस एंड हर बिजनेस में रिस्क होता है. अगर जैसे मैंने नासिक में भी सैलून ओपन किया है, एक सैलून को स्टार्ट करने के लिए 70 लाख से 1.5 करोड़ का खर्चा आता है. एवरेज 1 करोड़ मान के चलिए. अभी वो 1 करोड़ कौन खर्चा करेगा? दैट इज द क्वेश्चन. I'm not going to spend a crore. I don't have deep pockets like he mentioned. So I have specifically looked at somebody who's already spent that crore putting up their own salon, whether as a franchise or whether as their own salon, और उनको चलाने में तकलीफ हो रही है. So I'm strategically going and saying I will take over your operations. आपने खर्चा कर दिया है, अब आप as an investor sleeping partner बैठो, मेरे को चलाने दो. So it's like if you are an expert surgeon, अगर आप डॉक्टर हो, आपकी सर्जरी बहुत अच्छी है, हर एक शहर में जाके हॉस्पिटल खोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज हॉस्पिटल बनाने में पैसे लगते हैं. आपकी एक्सपर्टीज सर्जरी है, आप सर्जरी खोलो, दूसरों के पास पैसा है वो हॉस्पिटल खोले. दैट्स व्हेन यू कैन डू एन ऑपरेटर और अ फ्रेंचाइज मॉडल. बट द होल आइडिया इज आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट न जाए बट आपका ब्रांड बढ़ते जाए. लुक्स हैज 200 आउटलेट्स, दैट्स अ ब्रांड, राइट? सो एंड दैट इज डन without having to spend on each of those 200 outlets 1 crore from Sanjay Dutta's pockets. It's a very smart thing to do. So I'm up for it.
Samir, I'll quickly come back to you. जो प्रलय ने अभी franchise model describe किया, क्या looks का भी similar है?
See, I personally believe कि model था, but the way forward that we are going is now it has to be operated by the company. Because today, stakes are very high. आज कस्टमर आपका ब्रांड देखता है, आपको वट एवर गोज रॉन्ग, गॉड फॉरबिड कुछ खराब हुआ आपके सैलून में, तो सबसे पहले तो वो कंपनी का ब्रांड नेम देखता है, ये नहीं देखता कि ओनर कौन है. सबसे पहले सोशल मीडिया पे पिटाई आपके ब्रांड की होती है. प्लस द स्टेक्स फॉर द कंपनी इज़ वेरी हाई. 200 आउटलेट्स इज़ नॉट अ स्मॉल फुटप्रिंट. इवन 5 आउटलेट इज़ नॉट अ स्मॉल फुटप्रिंट. मैं कह रहा हूँ इसके लिए अभी जो मॉडल हमने अडॉप्ट किया है कि येस देयर विल बी एन इन्वेस्टर, he will be the eyes and ears of the city. क्योंकि मुझे तो पूरी इंडिया की विजन है नहीं, मुझे मालूम नहीं नागपुर में क्या होगा, सूरत में क्या होगा, लेकिन मैनेजमेंट विल बी बाय लुक्स. That's the new approach that we are taking.
Okay.
Yeah, very similar to what he's saying. Yeah.
Right. Alan, coming to you, you now belong to Naturals, which is like the mother of franchises in salon industry. So what's your take on scaling up with franchise?
Basically, with 700 plus salons across India, yes, there are different partners, different level, different cities that we have experienced over the year, over the decade also, which shows that koi cities mein that particular investor cannot invest as per what is the requirement. So we have another offering for that. In another city, it could be someone who can invest much more than the premium. So then we, of course, offer them that particular franchise model. Yes, as Samir and Pralay said, that rightful the operations, the entire SOP is set by us. We train the investor. We help them with the hiring process so that they have the same system of services put across. We also indulge in the same quality of products that every salon that we have uses. So that same protocol is managed everywhere. So that is the reason we have that successful spread of 700 plus salons.
Got it. Thank you. Bharath, these gentlemen have been speaking about the operational parts of running franchisees. What is the legal view?
Well, I'm only humbled to say that I've got a bunch of my clients around, whether it's products or services here. One right next to me, one in the audience. One should understand that the franchising business was started by the food industry. If you go back to the concept of franchising, it was started by fast food industry in the US, like Wendy's or McDonald's. The concept of franchising is if you are successful in one location and you have high quality and your business is replicable, but you don't want to invest into a second, third, fourth location, then there are only 3 points you need to keep in mind. 1, location. 2, quality control. 3 is audits. What I talk about audits is, do you have a proper quality control audit? Do you know how the business is run? Is there a standard operating procedure, SOP, which Alan was alluding to? Do you go and have a quality manager for every store, every region, so that you know if your franchisee is doing what you are expected to do or what you would do to your customer? Whether they are billing everything through the software system or do they take cash and put it in their pocket? If they don't pay franchise fee for 2 months, what is your outcome after 3rd month? Are they using the same products you are asking them to? You might be asking them to use one L'Oreal, they might be using Nirma. I'm just exaggerating, but so 1 is location which you will approve of. 2, quality is what you set and you have to have control. 3, when I say audit, it's also of documentation. Do you have a proper franchise document? Have you indicated in the franchise document what are your responsibility, what is their responsibility? If your responsibility is not fulfilled, what will happen? What is the franchisee's responsibility? So on and so forth. So everything needs to be documented. If one shortfall happens, do you send them a notice saying that your quality is bad? Pull up your socks. If you don't maintain quality, I'm going to come with a hammer and hammer you down. And last but not the least is a problem of rogue franchisees. When I say rogue franchisees, on this table, I think there are 300 franchisees between the 3 of them next to me. I'm sorry, 600,000. That's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. If when I say it's like the Mission Impossible rogue nation. Anyway, when I say rogue franchisees, they might be out of those 200 or 600, at least 3, 4, 5 who will be really irritant ones. They might not keep the place clean. They might be treating the clients badly. They will open up their own Facebook account or Instagram account. They will do discounts which you have not approved of. Or overnight, they might pull down your board and put up their board. We will talk about all these things later. But third part which I said is audits and documentation. If you do not have documentation, you should not be in the franchise business.
Samir, out of the few things that Bharath just mentioned, I'm sure there are 1,000 more that can go wrong. if the franchisee decides to go rogue. So ऐसे सिचुएशन में आप मैनेज कैसे करते हैं? पहली बात तो इतने सारे आउटलेट्स पे नज़र कैसे रखते हैं?
See, I think I've handled a company which had almost 300 stores at least 10-12 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was one of the India's largest slimming and beauty business in its erstwhile days called VLCC. So I agree to what Bharath is saying, but I think if you don't have a back-end team होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. आपको हर आउटलेट हर महीने जाना चाहिए. ये मैंडेट है. If you don't have, if you are not going to invest in a back-end team जो आपके, and not from a policing, from a guidance, from a vision perspective, from a support perspective. Audit is one of the many things that they check. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you will check everything. But if you are not going to invest in a back-end team, then no point in doing franchising, for sure. क्योंकि सिर्फ नाम खोल करके फायदा नहीं. And we are realizing it today. And I'm being very honest. Lux is realizing that we have perhaps grown too bigger, too faster. But now we are taking stock. हम चाह रहे हैं कि अब हम अपनी back-end team build करें ताकि हमारे franchisees को कलर all these points what he has said are not there. Finally, because the brand name is going to take a beating, no matter what. So course correction होता है. There are bigger companies like Naturals, Lakme, etc., etc. Lakme is backed by a very big, company, Levers. But I'm sure they also have their challenges.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, it is something which is being discovered. Let's talk about McDonald's. I think we all know what happened with McDonald's in North India. You know, Bakshi took them to the cleaners. So सबसे बड़ा brand in दुनिया का food brand, इतने documentation के बाद भी, इतने controls के बाद भी they could not control. So I think it is, the company's management or the company's promoters have to decide. I think I know a young man there sitting there, Monty. He is doing a good thing of building franchises in the nail business, right? Pan India.
Yeah.
But he's got his team who goes regularly, who goes and visits. So I think 15, 20, 25 outlets? 27 outlets. And he keeps telling me, and I keep learning from him, कि आपको business तभी करना जब आप उसमें एक structure से आप invest कर सकते हैं. If you don't do it, then no point in taking somebody else's money. Very clear.
Thank you, Samir. Pralay, this Nasik outlet that you have opened is your first franchise outlet?
It's not a franchise.
It's okay.
It's a
You just
partnership
did. Okay.
where we have an investor and we have an operator. So we are the operators. So we are still controlling. So technically, we have not started franchising yet. On the franchising thing, I would like to just say that you have to be very clear as a brand ki what is the promise that you're giving to one, the customer, and two, to the franchisee. आप फ्रेंचाइजी को क्या प्रॉमिस कर रहे हो और वो डिलीवर कर रहे हो कि नहीं, एंड आप कस्टमर को क्या प्रॉमिस कर रहे हो और डिलीवर कर रहे हो कि नहीं. And which is where also different brands like Kaya as a brand has a certain expertise led promise, which is why control is very, very important.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do a product franchise that is mass market, then it's not, your control automatically comes because you're selling products. Same bottle जा रहा है हर जगह पे. Like there is a big difference between franchising a product or even a fast food product like McDonald's या Wow Momo. जो सामान बिकता है वो कहीं से बन के आता है. You're only assembling,
Yeah.
right? And therefore you have much more control. But imagine if you had to do a McDonald's जहाँ पे आपने बोर्ड लगा दिया, ambience बना दिया, आपका वो जोकर रॉन मैकडोनल्ड बैठा हुआ है, everything is right, but you have 5 people making burgers, हर कोई अपने तरीके से बर्गर बना रहा है, कोई आलू डाल रहा है, कोई प्याज डाल रहा है, कोई पनीर डाल रहा है, कोई टमाटर डाल रहा है, then you don't have a McDonald's. Unfortunately, that can very easily happen in the salon industry where you've got everything right. You've got the look, feel, ambience, smell, products, all right. But आपका हेयर ड्रेसर अगर 5 हेयर ड्रेसर 5 अलग तरीके से काम कर रहे हैं, you don't have operational control or SOPs or whatever it is for the services that you're providing, then you're in trouble. Again, you can also say that you're a brand that assures that the hairdressers we have are all good. They might not work in the same way, but they're all good. That can be your brand promise. But that brand promise has to come out clearly when you talk to the customer and when you're talking to the franchisee. Because the biggest complaint that a franchisee has is हमको कुछ promise किया गया था और जब हमने business चालू, because typically the franchisee doesn't have expertise or experience in the business itself. नहीं तो वो अपना brand बना लेता, right? It's a businessman, somebody with money, somebody who wants to invest, knows the local market. A franchisee brings local knowledge. So वो value है, but they need hand-holding, they need support. And like you said, back-end team होगा, आपकी technical team होगी, non-technical team होगी. अगर आप support कर सकते हो, तब franchise करो.
Got it. Alan, continuing with what Pralay has just said, how important, what kind of filters do you put in place while deciding to give the Naturals franchising?
Okay, initially we always identify the location, means from where the franchisee belongs to. So
Yeah.
if there is already an existing natural salon out there, so we do not usually indulge in that, but still we keep a radius demarcation of say 15 to 20 kilometers. So that is the basic thing in south what we have done.
Okay.
In the west, it would be on a different note. Like it could be, suppose we open up one in Borivali West, the other one would be Borivali East. So we identify the investors also depending upon the location.
Okay.
Secondly, how sound are they in the business? Like have they already done some business earlier or are they fresh? So we need, this is a second category that we look into. We always make them go through the SOP initially before signing the line of agreement.
Okay.
So they understand that this is my role. I have to be daily involved in the business. It's not that I have opened up, appoint a salon manager. It is her or his responsibility to run the business. And then later on, blame the franchisor.
And how important is the uniformity of services across all outlets?
Yes, the uniformity of services is very important. Like, first of all, we give out discount vouchers or membership cards to all our customers to retain the customer. Now, if a customer has walked into my salon in Delhi and then they come to Mumbai on a visit, and if they are visiting the Mumbai salon, they would expect the same services, the same format of service done on them, the same products used, and the same retail products sold to them post service. So uniformity is something which is definitely gives a brand recall also.
Bharath, coming to you, the issues that you discussed, if a salon is facing those issues with their franchising partners, what resorts can they go to? What can be done?
There are multiple things one needs to do. First, I would say, like in Hindi में जो बोलते हैं ना कि साम दान भेद दंडम. पहले तो you'll have to reach out to the franchisee and try to resolve it internally, for which you need to send a mail. उनको मौका दोगे कि 30 दिन में, 40 दिन में, 50 दिन में उसको ठीक करें. अगर वो नोटिस देने के बावजूद वो नहीं करते, then you'll have to send a threat of termination. कि अभी 90 दिन हो गए, you have not pulled up your socks, अभी भी आप गलती कर रहे हो, फ्रेंचाइजी का फी नहीं करा, क्वालिटी का प्रॉब्लम है, you violated ABCD, then you push it one level up, and then you can go to the court and have to either recover that money or ask them to be terminated. I've advised Domino's, I've advised food chains in Chennai called Wang's Kitchen, but existing franchisee का जो relation है, it's very, very brittle. It's very easy to go wrong. It's very difficult to build over the years. I mean, of course, the business owners are here to tell you, because it takes years and years to make them feel comfortable and make them part of the big system. And in another industry, I have seen that there are WhatsApp groups of franchisees who get together and start bad-mouthing about the franchisor. You might spend all your money, take your franchisees to an offsite, and they become one gang against you. That's also possible. So you need to be really careful on what you do, where you do, how you do. But options are many. I would always say take it one step at a time. You need not rush to the court. Legal is the last option. Don't rush to the court until you find an internal solution. But your franchisee agreement, उसके अंदर ही ये सब होना चाहिए. So your franchise agreement should say 30 days from notice for quality check, 60 days for a second check, 90 days termination. those kind of checks should be within the manual of franchise itself.
ओके समीर, कभी ये हुआ है आपके साथ व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना हो?
I think it's a free country. Freedom of speech is allowed everywhere. Why not? और उसको आप कोई कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते, बट आपको अपने मिशन पे, अपने विजन पे कंसिस्टेंटली आपको रहना है. यू हैव टू टेक द 4 रूट्स दैट ही सजेस्टेड. बट आई पर्सनली फील कि आपने, मैं मतलब आई वुड टेक a very strong approach and I would do very strict action second time itself. I don't believe in second chances anything. एक बार आपने मौका दिया, sit across, talk to him, communicate with him. Second time, if that person doesn't listen, end the relationship. There's no point in dragging. अगर उसका intention खराब है तो वो कभी नहीं सुधरेगा. हो सकता है हमारे से भी गलतियां हो, ठीक है. I think do self reflection. But like I said earlier, if you expanded without a proper support in your back end, there is no point in blaming a franchisee.
Yeah.
It's your fault. Having said that, I think today I keep saying stakes are very high. इतनी मेहनत से brand बने हैं, and it can get eroded like this in today's digital world, where the consumer is not forgiving at all.
तो फ्रेंचाइजीज को ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल के लिए आप क्या ऑफर करते हैं?
WhatsApp? No. I'm saying you have to be very communicative. Like I said, आपको मिलना है. You have to have, like I've taken charge of the business. I've been to 25 stores in last 6 months. Okay, and it's a big journey for me. But at least people are beginning to feel that there is an approach, there is a change in direction. People are coming, visiting. It's enthused the entire organization. So there is a part, and I mean, there is a process which is being driven, but like I said, Delhi बहुत दूर है. But आपका intention honorable होना चाहिए. But at the same time, you've got to be very tough, very tough. You cannot be giving second chances, no matter what. That's my personal belief, you know.
Because you feel that the brand name is top priority for you. वो किसी हालत में
Without a doubt.
खराब नहीं होना चाहिए.
Without a doubt. And like I said, 10 साल पहले की बात अलग थी. Today, media is unforgiving. So मेहनत करके ब्रांड बनाया है, इसने ब्रांड बनाया है, मॉन्टी ने ब्रांड बनाया है, यहाँ पे लोगों ने ब्रांड, मिस्टर CK has made 700 stores. So if somebody cheats the brand, somebody misuses the brand,
yeah, like all 700 will get affected because of one
100%.
store.
So
Yeah.
you've got to be very strict.
Right. Pralay, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that add to what he said, that आज के डेट पे आपका सबसे बड़ा ब्रांड बैरोमीटर जो बोलते हैं इज योर गूगल रिव्यू. आपकी गूगल लिस्टिंग है, सब चिट्ठा वहाँ खुल के सामने आ जाता है. तो जैसे अगर आपके एक एरिया में, एक शहर में 10 सैलॉन हैं, 2-3 सैलॉन के भी नेगेटिव रिव्यू आ गए, इट अफेक्ट्स दी अदर सैलॉन्स एज वेल. अगर आपके 10 सैलॉन आ गए एक शहर में, उसमें 3-4 सैलॉन के 3.2, 3.5, 3.8 रेटिंग है, दैट इम्पैक्ट्स द ब्रांड इंप्रेशन. इट डजंट जस्ट, वो उसी सैलॉन तक रिस्ट्रिक्टेड नहीं है. और हर आपका गूगल लिस्टिंग आपके ब्रांड नेम से जा रहा है, ओनर के नाम से नहीं जा रहा है. ओनर को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ओनर को सिर्फ रेवेन्यू में फर्क पड़ता है, बट बिजनेस इंपैक्ट सिर्फ उस ओनर को नहीं हो रहा, बाकी 7 ओनर को हो रहे हैं. बिकॉज आपके 3 फ्रेंचाइज गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं, उसकी वजह से बाकी 7 पर भी इंपैक्ट आ रहा है. तो आई अग्री विथ हिम दैट यू हैव टू बी स्ट्रिक्ट, यू हैव टू बी clinical about this, that you need to go and sort out, either terminate the relationship or improve it, but you cannot tolerate the brand getting impacted. Stakes are very high.
ट्रू. हमारे ऑडियंस की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखा जाए तो इन्होंने अपनी ब्रांड बिल्ड की है इन वट एवर लोकेलिटी दे आर करंटली इन, एंड दे आर लुकिंग फॉर स्केलिंग अप. स्केलिंग अप के 2 मेथड्स हैं. You expand your own doors or you go the franchisee way. If they are planning to go the franchisee way, what is the first most important thing that they should be considering?
सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि आप क्या प्रोवाइड कर रहे हो जो ओनर 6 महीने बाद खुद नहीं प्रोवाइड कर सकता. आपने तो फ्रेंचाइज दे दिया, आपका लोटस सैलॉन है, वहां और एक लोटस सैलॉन खुल गया, उसने 6 महीने चलाए, हेयर ड्रेसर आपने ट्रेन कर दिए, उसने बोर्ड चेंज करके लोटस से अपने नाम पे एक सैलॉन ओपन कर दिया. व्हाट इज इट that you have to offer, या आपका मोट क्या है, what is it that is protecting your brand? Because like hairdressers do. आपके यहाँ काम करते हैं, साल भर बाद मैं अपना दुकान खुद खोल रहा हूँ और बगल में ही खोल लेंगे. I mean, if you look at King Circle, Enrich की staff ने बगल में खोल दिया है. So it impacts the brand because then the brand is. So if you are doing something, देखो फायदे तो हैं फ्रेंचाइज करने के, बट नुकसान भी है. आपका जो आपने जिसको फ्रेंचाइज दिया है वो आपके बराबर हो जाएगा फिर. You know, so you have to be very careful कि आपके हाथ में आप what are the cards that you're holding in your hand, your moat, how you protect your brand. कि आपके ब्रांड का बोर्ड हट गया तो क्लाइंट्स जाना बंद हो जाना चाहिए वहां पे. नहीं तो क्लाइंट्स आपके बोर्ड की वजह से नहीं जा रहे हैं. क्लाइंट वो इंडिविजुअल हेयरड्रेसर की वजह से जा रहा है जो बाय चांस आपके बोर्ड के नीचे काम कर रहा है. राइट. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट द बोर्ड and the promise that the board gives brings the clients in, not the individual hairdressers. We are over dependent on individual hairdressers inside our salons, which means you're giving them the power to go and open their own thing, which is very risky. So risk आप पहले calculate करो, उसके बाद franchise करो.
Thank you. Yes.
Just quickly add to what they say. McDonald's actually became super big because they owned all the land on which the store was built. It's very difficult to do that in India, but just what he said कि 6 महीने चलाया, 10 महीने चलाया, 1.5 साल के बाद तो बोर्ड हटा के उनका खुद का बोर्ड डाल दिया. Then if you have the rental agreement in your name as the franchisor, वो franchisee कुछ नहीं कर सकता. You make the franchisee as a subtenant, then you have control over the store. थोड़ा शुरू में it's possible that it is very difficult to convince the franchisee कि आप tenant होंगे. But if you are a brand and he is getting convinced with your brand, the retail store control is much more. We've had like many other restaurant problems where there are in South the biryani shops are very, very popular, and during COVID overnight super big brand biryani shops lost about 20. And one franchisee who was controlling 20 shops suddenly became a big new player in the market. So, shortly put, when you're giving out the franchisee, आप ये मत लिखो कि ये पूरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट आपके लिए दे दिया, मास्टर फ्रेंचाइजी बना दिया. वो बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम होता है. बिकॉज आई हैव सीन फ्रेंचाइज एग्रीमेंट्स जिसमें स्ट्रीट नेम नहीं लिखा होता या शॉप एड्रेस नहीं लिखा होता. वो बोलते हैं कि so in Bombay, Borivali आप ले लो. Borivali ले लो को मतलब क्या है? I mean, if looks or naturals can have 10 salons in Borivali or in Goregaon or in Powai, you can't give one entire location to or a district to one franchise. So when you are giving out, you need to be careful how, what, when you are giving or how long you are giving.
How do you know all these insights?
So notice based हमारे पास आते हैं.
उसका हाँ ये तो मतलब this is like getting into CKK and Sanjay Datta and Samir Srivastav.
नहीं, I'm talking about even food brands have that problem because क्या होता है, the affordability is going up. Everyone wants to go to a salon. Everyone wants to go to a branded salon. वो जमाना चला गया कि 50 रुपए के वो पेड़ के नीचे बैठ के कुछ भी काट लो नैया से. But my problem is absolutely.
So I would just like to add to that if अगर आप अभी आपके अपना सैलून है, 1-2 सैलून है, आप फ्रेंचाइजिंग का सोच रहे हैं, you have to think of it exactly like how you would think of hairdressers inside your salon. आपका सिंगल सैलून है, आपके सैलून में लोग आपके लिए आते हैं या आपके हेयरड्रेसर के लिए आते हैं? अगर आपका हेयरड्रेसर अमित, अगर लोग अमित के लिए आते हैं और अमित छोड़ के बगल वाले दुकान में जाता है और आपके सारे क्लाइंट वहां जाते हैं, तो आपका ब्रांड नहीं है. वो हेयरड्रेसर है जो बाय चांस आपके यहाँ पे काम कर रहा है. राइट. सिमिलरली इफ इनसाइड योर सैलून आपके बोर्ड के नीचे 4 हेयरड्रेसर हैं और लोग हेयरड्रेसर के पास आ रहे हैं और कस्टमर को फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बोर्ड चेंज हो गया, कस्टमर को फर्क नहीं पड़ता, मेरे को तो आरिफ से ही कटवाना है, तो आरिफ जहां पे है हेयरड्रेसर वहां पे जाएगा, तो यू आर अंडर थ्रेट. So understand why people are coming in. Are they coming in for the hairdresser? Are they coming in for the brand and the brand promise? I come back to the point of brand promise क्या है, वो clear होना चाहिए और वो protected होना चाहिए.
Thank you, Pralay. Alan, from your perspective, what advice would you give to people who want to scale up through franchising?
Repeat once again.
And वो
please.
बोरेवली एरिया वाला भी हम
अरे यार,
समझ
I'm
गए.
not going to speak anything about Borivali or the getting
Time
city
next,
center.
like I said, by the next Congress, there will be 1,000.
Absolutely, absolutely. So basically, to scale up a business, as I earlier also mentioned, this is just like, if a salon has provide good staff, trained staff, and experienced staff, which can also be developed if you have your own academy. So if you have your own academy, you have that skill set, okay, and you can provide it to your franchise partners rather than getting associated with a placement agency or someone and getting random, कि एक महीने में फटाफट hairdresser देना है, beauty therapist देना है. You need to get a beautician out there, which is very difficult. So when you have your own academy, this is a support which you can obviously give it to your franchise partners. So this is something which can also scale up your business when you are entering into an agreement. So these are the supports that you give, like even to identify your location. We have a team, okay, that identifies your location. We have someone to help with your training, your staff, then with the products. Again, after 6 months, again we train your staff. So what happens is your staff doesn't leave you. They are assured कि भाई यहाँ पे रहेंगे तो free में हमारा training तो हो रहा है. So this is something which can be added in the franchise module when you sell your franchise. This can help scale the business.
Thank you, Alan. I'll wind up this session with my last question to Bharath. From a legal point of view, are there any red flags that salons should be looking out for?
The red flags are the training which you impart to the stylists. They are the breadwinners of your floor, as you might call. We've seen the brands or the franchisors invest in the stylist, and overnight they leave and go. And then with them go, as they say, like 200, 300 customers. So the franchisor or the brand owner should ensure that the employment contract says, I am going to give you training. The training would cost so much. I will let you know how much the training cost is. If you leave me, we will recover all the money from you. That's a good start. It's not a deterrent. I mean, it's a good deterrent. That is one point. Point number 2 is when you sign the agreement, you are in a rush to onboard them. So you discount a lot of important requirements on renewal, increase in franchise percentage of royalty, but there is no record keeping also which is proper. I'm not talking about where is the agreement? Has it been renewed? I mean, there is a lot of legal requirements which one has to have. As when I started the discussion, I said audit is important, documentation is important, because you are not there. The franchisee is there. So if at all anything goes wrong there, the only document which you can fall back is the agreement you signed with the franchisee. Agar us agreement mein nahi likha hota, then you can't point a finger at them. And have one standard franchise agreement so that it's well written. So you don't have north ke liye ek, east ke liye ek, west ke liye ek, south ke liye ek. And as a brand owner, to keep the brand intact, you need to have absolute control over your franchisees through agreements and enforcement of the clauses.
So each contract has to be personalized.
Each contract has to be generalized, not personalized. Personalized, only the address should change, if you ask me. But once you go past the 20, 30, 40 threshold, the persons who bring the new franchisees are the new sales managers or area managers. In the interest of getting a new franchise, they will bring XYZ to ABCD. So the quality of franchisee screening is also important. But to conclude, I would only say, as they said, standard operating process is important. Your internal mechanism, the enforcement is absolutely important. You need to have documentation, a separate almari, a separate team, a franchise manager, a area manager, a quality manager, regular checks, monthly audits, surprise checks, whatever you want to call it. But unless you have maintenance of quality and enforcement of quality and backed up by the documents, franchise as a business is a non-starter.
Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists. It was a wonderful session. I'm sorry we don't have
Can
time
I
for
quickly
questions.
add to what he just said?
Very quickly.
Very good. Yeah. So this is when you're selecting the red flag you asked about, when you're picking a franchisee, is the same red flag you would do as a landlord. जब आप अपने property को rent पे देते हो, उससे वो property चलेगा कि नहीं? क्योंकि आपके property का नाम खराब हो जाएगा कि यहाँ तो कोई business नहीं चलता. I just saw a landlord speak to somebody who wanted to open a restaurant. पैसे हैं, सब कुछ है, investor है, सब कुछ है, but he said she doesn't have the experience. उसने रेस्टोरेंट, उसको सिर्फ घर पे खाना बनाने का शौक है, अभी वो रेस्टोरेंट ओपन करना चाहती है, वो भी नीश रेस्टोरेंट, वीगन रेस्टोरेंट. आई एम वेरी स्केयर्ड टू गिव दिस टू हर. यू शुड बी स्केयर्ड टू गिव योर फ्रेंचाइज आउट टू समबडी हु इज नॉट राइट. वो अगर डर नहीं रहेगा आप में तो आपका फ्रेंचाइज मॉडल फेल करेगा. दैट्स व्हाट आई वांट.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists? Please step forward for photo op. I would request my panelists to step outside for video bites. My team is there to take video testimonials from you.